So the topic, whoa, that's not what we want. Okay, so active versus passive voice is the topic for today's discussion. All right, but before we kind of hop into that, let's have a little chat. If we were to look at a verb in a reading, and I point to that word and say, give me some information about it, what kinds of things would I want you to tell me? Who can remember? Like, what are some characteristics of a verb? Okay, so let's write these down. Okay, number is one of them. What's another thing I'd want to know? Tense, great. Okay, and in Latin, how many tenses are there, by the way? Only 6. Okay, so we'll just write that here. What else? What else? Did we say case? Case is nouns. Gender is also nouns. Right, nouns have gender, number, and case. Verbs have number, tense, mood. Okay, that's an important one. Voice is one of them, and that's the one we're going to talk about today. And then there's one more we're missing. There's 5 things. What's the difference between I, you, and he? Person. Yep. Okay. I was always taught it's person, number, tense, voice, mood. Person, number, tense, voice, mood. And that's just like kind of the way that you go through it systematically. Okay. Number is pretty simple. What are our options here? Singular and plural. Tense. In the present system, what are the 3 verb tenses that we have? Shout them out. Present, imperfect, and future. Okay, and then in the perfect verb system, we've got the... Yep, perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect. Okay. Now, in terms of mood, what are our 3 choices? Do we remember? Subjunctive is nice. Yeah, subjunctive is one. And we're going to get to that pretty soon, actually, which is super exciting because that opens up a whole world of things. All right, so subjunctive, what's the other one? Indicative, which is the one we've seen up to this point, and what we'll be working in today. Indicative. Okay, and finally, what's the 3rd one? Imperative. Nice. Good, good, good. Okay, as far as person goes, let's just talk about that. What are my options? Yep, first, second, and third. Okay, and finally, when we talk about voice, what are the 2 distinctions? Active and passive, yes. Okay, so that was the review. Now let's get into the specifics. Okay, I'm going to write some examples on the board, and you should write the Latin too. Please copy them down with the macrons. May I scroll?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait. Can you just
Leave a little bit?
Yeah, that's
Okay. Okay, first sentence that we've got here is in colae omnia agunt. In colae omnia agunt. Okay, now let's mark this up I'm gonna do the markup in a different color. Let's do it in purple, because why not? All right, first things first, find the verb. Where's my verb, Roy? Yeah, good. Right, typically it's at the back of the sentence. The main verb is going to be found at the end. All right, so if it's agunt, right, it's plural. What is my nominative plural? Incolai, good. That's our nominative plural, subject. Okay, now omnia, what does it look like? Direct object, good, right? Because it's neuter and it's plural. Now, omnia just means all, like omnis, omne means all, right? But this is a substantive adjective. Because it's neuter, you can say all things or everything. Okay, so our translation goes as follows. The incolai, meaning the tenants. Ago, agere, egi, actus, to do, drive, spend, act. It's one of those weird verbs that has like a million different meanings. So the tenants, we'll make it present, are doing omnia, all things, or everything. That's probably better. Okay? Now what we're going to do, let's talk about it. So the tenants are doing the action of the verb. So what voice would this verb be? What voice would this verb be? Active, right? Because they're actively doing something. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to make the little thing here and label it active. Just like that. Okay, the next sentence is going to be as follows. Okay, ab incolis omnia aguntur. And actually I'm going to move that down just slightly so we have a little more room to work. May I get rid of the mood voice person up at the top? Thank you. Okay, so now let's do our markup. Where is my verb here? Where is my verb here? Aguntur, yeah. But wait a second. That ending looks super funky, doesn't it? That doesn't look like an ending we've seen before. Does it? Okay. A or ab, right, this word at the front here. What is that? What part of speech is ab? It's a preposition. And what typically follows a preposition? Well, it makes up a prepositional phrase, the object of the preposition, right? So is ab incolis probably going to be just a prepositional phrase? Yes. Okay. Now omnia is still neuter, still plural, so it's going to be our direct object here. So let's do the translation. Actually, I'm sorry, forgive me. This is the subject. Okay, so omnia, we're still going to translate it substantively. Everything is being done by whom, Thomas? Good. Okay. What voice is that? It's passive, right. Right, because the tenants are still doing the action, kind of, but it's just different. Right, it's just worded differently. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, I'm gonna give you maybe like 2 more. May I scroll?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the sentence reads, Flamai was oppriment. Okay, now we just went over was, we know what was is. Right? Ego me, hime me, tu, tipi, te, nos, nostri, nobis, was, vostri, vobis, was, vobis. So what is it? Is it I or you? You. And is it singular or plural? It's plural, so y'all. Okay. Now, what is the subject? Well, actually, first, what's the verb in this sentence? Careful, the verb. Oppriment, yeah. All right, so let's mark it up in purple. Okay, now, the nt ending means our subject has to be nominative and plural. What is nominative and plural? Could it be was? Technically? Yes, right, remember was, vostri, vobis, was, vobis. It could be nominative or accusative. But what makes more sense here? Will you overwhelm the flames, or will the flames overwhelm you? Well, I guess you could do it either way. But if the flames were the direct object, how would this form change? Flamai. Flamas. Right, flamas. Okay, so this has to be our subject. Right, was could be either subject or direct object. We're using context here to help us figure that out. Okay, so the flamai, the flames, oppriment, will overwhelm. Whoops, y'all. Okay, what voice is that? The flames will overwhelm you. What voice is that? It's active. Yeah, it's active, right? Because the flames are doing the action of the verb. Last one. Hang in there. Okay, vos flamis opprimemini. Opprimemini. Okay, now based on what we know about Latin word order, and based on kind of how these sentences have been going, pattern recognition, what's my verb here? Yeah, don't be shy, say it. Just sound it up. Opprimemini. Say it, opprimemini. Everybody, opprimemini. Man, y'all are like afraid of the Latin words. That's crazy. I should dress up as a Latin word for Halloween and just walk around campus. I'll chase you. Okay. All right, so that's our verb. Even though the ending looks super funky, it is indeed a verb. We'll learn those endings in a second. Okay, now, let's talk about case here. Was, as we know, can be nominative plural or accusative plural, so it can be either our subject or direct object, correct? Yes. All right, so we need a little more information here. The word flamis comes from flama, flamae, first declension. So think of that is ending. What case is it? I, arum, is, as, is. What are my possibilities? Ablative or go up to? Dative or ablative plural. Okay, now here I'm telling you that it will be indeed ablative. No, you're not. Don't say that. No, you're not. You're not. Stop. Okay, vos, I guess I'll just feed that to you, is our subject. So let's translate this. Vos, y'all, opprimemini. Now we're gonna make, how are we gonna change will overwhelm to make it passive? How do I make that passive in English? Will overwhelm becomes, yeah, will be overwhelmed. Now, because flamis is ablative, what are the 5 ways we translate an ablative? By, with, in, on, from. We off. Okay, which makes the most sense here? Y'all will be overwhelmed by. Yes, that probably makes the most sense. By the flames. Okay, bye.
He's so horrified with the verbs.
That's okay. Verbs give me diarrhea too, I guess. Interessante. All right. So this is passive, right? Okay. Do you guys have command of active versus passive in English
Yes.
for the most part?
Yes.
Kind of. Do you, do your English teachers tell you not to use the passive voice in papers?
Well, if you're a politician, you should use it.
Yeah, if you are a politician, you should. Do you know why English teachers say not to use the passive voice, though? Is it grammatically incorrect?
No, it's
Because of what?
Because it prepares you for the SAT grammar section.
Oh, maybe it prepares you for the SAT, possibly. Does it make you sound weaker as a perspective,
Yes.
the passive voice? Yes, it does, right? But it is not grammatically incorrect, right? Meaning it is grammatically correct. You could use it. Right, so if you write a paper for me ever, you can use the passive voice, but Mr. Barber, maybe not. He might smack me. Okay.
But politicians like to use it. It's like they're not directly doing the harm.
Yeah. Yeah, they're true. But that's rhetoric. Rhetoric is something interesting. Okay, so let's write down, let's see. Let's just write down the ground rules here. So with the active voice, the subject performs the action of the verb. Okay, but in the passive voice, what happens to the subject? Is the subject still doing the action of the verb?
The action is done. Wait, action is done.
Well, okay, well, let's think about that. Let's think about it for a second. Let's go back. Okay, so flammai vos oppriment, the flames will overwhelm you. The flames are doing the overwhelming, therefore it is active. In the second example, y'all is the subject, right? Y'all will be overwhelmed by the flames. So what is happening? What is the relationship to the subject and the verb in the passive voice? How can you put that into words?
Receiving action.
Yeah, the subject is receiving the action of the verb. Good. Nicely done. I before E except after C. I forgot how to spell receives again. Okay, so if you get nothing else from today, this is how active versus passive works. These are the 2 big takeaways. Okay, at this point, do we have any questions? Besides, what time is it and when will Miss Slade stop talking? Okay, let me give us our endings then. Okay, what do these look like in Latin? All right, may I scroll from the ground rules, or do we still need them? Okay, I'll wait a little. So this is super easy. Let's just build a chart. Okay, so we've got our singular and we've got our plural over here. Okay. Then we've got first person, whoops, second person, and third person. Okay, so here are our endings. Are, ris, tour, more, mini, and ntor.
Hey, may I steal Jalissa for just a minute?
You may steal Jalissa for just a minute.
Thank you.
Of course. No copy time. Okie dokie, okie. Let's keep going. Now, the way that I'll teach you to remember these endings kind of in the order in which they go. It's a little weird, but deal with it, I guess. Sorry, that sounded really mean. You'll get used to it is what I should say. Okay, 4 risky turtles murder miniature centurions. Now, if you notice in each of those words, we've got our endings, which I've capitalized for you, in the order that they go. Okay. Not me. Somebody way before me, but
That's really fun.
it's really weird, and I think it's awesome.
I never learned that.
You never? What? How would you never? Oh, that's so cool, though. I love this. It's one of my favorites. Okay, 4 risky turtles murder miniature centurions. Everybody say that. That was pathetic. Now say that with some backbone. Now pretend you just got a present, you opened up the box, and it's a puppy. And you would say this. Just like Thomas just did. Go for it. Yeah. Be excited about it. Come on.
That did my quota.
Wow. Thanks, Thomas.
Well, we're the Soviet states, so there's no...
4 risky turtles murder miniature centurions. Wow, you guys must not be excited about puppies. What are you did inside?
No, risky turtles.
You like cats?
I'm a cat person.
I knew I should have said kittens. Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's nice about these passive endings is that you can just slap these onto the stem of the verb in like all conjugations. It's the same, right? It's not going to be different, okay? Which is super nice. So for example, may I scroll away? Okay, actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up from the book so you can see it. You don't necessarily have to write it. Actually, I just want to make sure you guys have this chart written down, so I'll give you a moment to make sure you have it. And make sure you have our wonderful slogan. We should get this on a t-shirt. Would anyone wear that? Because I know I would.
Wait, is it? You mean like 4, like the number 4, but it's written like 4 risky turtles?
No, not the number, well,
Can I just write
like the number 4?
Wait, no, it makes sense though.
Yeah, it would make more sense if it's 4.
Okay, fine. So we'll make it 4 risky turtles,
Yeah.
right? Like the Teenage Mutant Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What? Right, there's 4 of them?
Yeah.
Okay, just double checking.
Wait, there's 6.
What?
Oh my god.
There's 6 Ninja Turtles?
There's 4.
There's 4.
I didn't know there were 6.
I'm pretty sure there's like...
Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Leonardo, thank you.
What happened to like?
You're mistaken.
I think you're just thinking of maybe like Renaissance painters.
Yeah, why did they name them?
That's really weird. Have you guys seen that meme where it's like a sculpture of marble and it's like, this is done, is anyone else impressed by this marble done by Michelangelo? And then someone says, yeah, it's even more impressive considering it was done by a turtle. It's like, wow, that's really stupid. It's a great meme. There's a meme for that. All right, we all have this?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So let me show you kind of what these forms look like. Okay. So if you notice, right, on this page, all of them have the ending, right? So let's take a look. First conjugation, porto, portare. Wait, ar, ris, tour, more, mini, ntor. Okay, let's keep going. Now, imperfect tense. Imperfect sheep say what? What do the imperfect sheep say? Ba, right? So essentially all you're doing is just adding the BA tense marker for the imperfect tense, but you're using the same endings. So it's BA plus R, BA plus ris, BA plus tour, BA plus more, mini, ntor. Okay, the pattern follows. Okay, now we move into the future. What's the tense marker kind of for the future tense? Do we remember? It's not as common, but it's big, B-I. Okay, now aside from bor and beris and buntor, the rest of them have it. So B-I-T-U-R, B-I-M-U-R, B-I-M-I-N-I. Door? Hodor? Oh, that door. Hello. Okay, so does this look so complicated? It's really not that bad. Okay, as long as you guys recognize that it is the passive voice, okay, eventually you'll become accustomed to the tenses. All right, but look for a BA, it'll be imperfect. Look for a BO, BE, or BI, and it's going to be future, plus your passive ending. Okay, and again, as I've said, it's nice because it is the same for each conjugation. There's no change in how we use the endings or the endings themselves. Okay, any questions on this? Okay. So that's the active and the passive voice. Now let me show you one thing that is kind of, do I want to talk about that today? You might want to know these, right? The ferro tuli latus. Do we remember ferro tuli latus? What does that mean? To carry, bring, or to bear something, right? Okay, but again, super easy if you notice the endings, the passive endings at least, are the same. Okay, you've got your BA tense marker in the imperfect, and in the future, it's just a little weird, right? The future one is where it's weird, but present and imperfect are pretty simple and follow the pattern. Okay, even though Pharaoh is kind of irregular. Any questions? No? Okay, Roy, are you alive, my son? No? Obviously not. Okay. All right, so what I'd like you guys to do for homework, because I'm feeling a little extra spicy today, we're going to do some translation. You have the vocabulary, and now you've learned the forms. Okay? So those of you who are feeling, well, I'd like you to get at least through the first 10 lines of the story in chapter 30. The first 10 lines. Okay? Chapter 30, yep. So, let me scroll up. So the first 10 lines, it's up here. Okay, I want you just to get through here. For homework. So what you're going to do is you're going to translate the first 10 lines for homework and note any passive forms that may come up. Okay, this is just gonna practice that. It's gonna practice that. It's gonna probably practice some of those cue words that we learned in the last chapter. Okay, it might practice relative clauses as well. Okay, so just be on the lookout. Those are some big grammar points that are probably gonna show up here. Okay, does anyone have any questions on what I'm expecting for next class? No? All right, should the translation be handwritten? Yes. If it's typed, will I accept it? No. Should I submit it on the portal also? Yes. Okay. Any questions? No?